You keep your head down, take on the extra work, and bite your tongue to keep the peace. But instead of being rewarded for your selflessness, you find yourself completely exhausted and entirely overlooked. The reason this happens isn't necessarily because the people around you are malicious. It happens because you are confusing being a pleasant person with being a strategic one. To fix this, you don't need to change your core personality. You just need to implement 4 specific behavioral shifts that will allow you to command respect and enforce your boundaries, starting today. Making these adjustments stops people from treating you as a predictable convenience. When you change how you operate, you force the room to stop walking over you and start treating you as a player who demands respect. Step 1 starts with how you handle interruptions. When someone talks over you in a meeting, the instinct is to either shrink back, laugh it off, or scramble to defend your point out of anxiety. Instead of reacting, you need to build a gap. A reaction is fast and driven by emotion. A response is strategic, and it requires you to hold absolute silence for 2 full seconds before you speak. When they finish interrupting, do not smile, do not apologize for continuing, just hold steady eye contact. Count to 2 in your head, and then finish your exact sentence at the exact same volume. That quiet pause sends a very specific signal. It tells the other person that you are entirely unbothered by their interruption, and you refuse to let their lack of manners dictate your pacing. By controlling the tempo of the interaction, you neutralize their attempt to dominate the floor. You establish that your physical and mental presence requires attention, and they will naturally measure their words more carefully the next time you speak. Step 2 addresses your time. There is a common misconception that agreeing to every favor and taking on every extra task automatically makes you a virtuous colleague. Look at this relationship between availability and value. When your time is constantly accessible to anyone who asks, the economic reality kicks in. Your perceived social value plummets straight to 0 because you have made yourself completely abundant. At this point, people stop feeling grateful for your help. Your extreme generosity simply becomes an expectation of entitlement. To correct this, you must apply the generosity audit. Before you say yes to a request that costs you time or energy, ask yourself, if the roles were reversed, would this person do the same for me? If the answer is no, your answer should be no. Restricting access to your capacity protects your finite energy and trains people to view your help as a premium asset that must be earned, rather than a mere convenience. Step 3 is about holding the line. When people finally decide to set a boundary, they usually ruin it by immediately padding their refusal with apologies and a laundry list of excuses. We do this because we are addicted to approval. We want to reject the request, but we still try to manage the other person's emotions so they continue to like us. This is what a proper boundary looks like. When you provide a list of reasons, you are simply handing the other person materials to negotiate with. A boundary needs to be a complete, standalone sentence. The next time you need to decline, use a clear, flat statement. Simply say, "I can't take that on right now." Do not add that you are busy, do not say you are sorry, and do not offer to try later. The other person will likely feel a moment of friction or discomfort because they are used to you folding. You have to let them hold that discomfort entirely on their own, without stepping in to rescue them. They might briefly misread you as cold, but sitting with that temporary misunderstanding is a necessary cost. It is the only way to establish firm boundaries and stop people from constantly manipulating your schedule. Finally, Step 4 tackles the invisible work problem. There is a deeply held belief that if you just keep your head down and produce flawless results in the background, the right people will automatically notice and reward you. In reality, organizations rely on what they can see. A colleague who completes half the amount of work, but ensures that work is publicly visible, will consistently receive the promotions and raises you are waiting for. To counter this, you need to use the visibility play. You have to take the responsibility of actively communicating your completed output directly to the decision makers. When you hit a major milestone or close out a difficult task, send a brief email to the relevant stakeholders. Just write a short summary stating that the project is complete and the results are ready for review. Many people avoid this because it feels like bragging. But you aren't inflating your ego. You are simply providing leadership with accurate, factual data about where value is actually being generated. Making your contributions visible ensures you get credit for your effort. It converts your quiet, behind-the-scenes labor into professional leverage, recognition, and upward mobility. You now have the 4 tools to reset your positioning: instituting the 2-second gap, running a generosity audit, using the no explanation rule, and making the visibility play. Applying these methods might feel unfamiliar at first, and you might worry that it makes you difficult to work with. But setting limits and claiming credit for your work does not make you arrogant or cruel. You can maintain pure intentions while still operating with a highly attuned, sharp mind. You can wish people well without letting them walk all over you. Your time and your capabilities are entirely too valuable to be drained away just to maintain a comfortable atmosphere for everyone else. By replacing an anxious need for approval with these deliberate, strategic actions, you rewire how people interact with you. You ensure you remain respected, properly valued, and in full control of your own direction.